Hello everyone, my name's James Carpenter, Country Living. My subscribers probably know me by now. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I put a video out about a year ago about this wood burning stove. The last season, which was this past winter, the stove was actually putting smoke into the house, which is not a good thing. So we're in the process of tearing it down right now, the stove that is, and we built a little fire in there with some paper to kind of smoke test it, and we found the leak, which I'll show you that here in a minute. But I also want to say that I had a subscriber leave a comment, and he wanted to know more about the chimney, so I'll talk about that a little bit too. Inside the stove, this outer wall is okay, and this is the burn chamber. So this is where your fire is. So this heats up and the air around the burn chamber heats up, and then it's actually turned on and off by a thermocoupler, which, by the way, I'm going to replace that this year. It was starting to act up on me too. But the leak we found out of the back of the burn chamber is this guy here. It's a heavy-duty piece of metal that your exit pipe for the chimney comes out of. So that's the back of the burn chamber. And if you look real close, that gasket that goes around it, that's where the leak is. So I'm going to replace that gasket. I had a subscriber or a viewer ask me about locking this metal door. This is the chute where we throw the wood in from the outside. And to lock it, you see that L-shaped bracket right there? That's a piece of 1/4 inch thick steel. And it goes right underneath. I'm gonna do it. This is the L-shaped bracket. So it basically just sits down here on the bottom. And it goes underneath the lever. This is the lever. When you turn the handle on the outside, it can't move because it's hitting this piece of 1/4 inch steel. So that's how that's locked. If you wanted to know more about that. Now, as for my viewer that was asking about the smoke and how it gets out of the burn chamber, that obviously goes back to this piece we're going to replace. And then you have a 90 that comes out of the back of it, and it goes up in this stove pipe. It goes into that's called triple wall. That's what you need to put in when you exit the house, triple wall. And then inside the house you can use just regular pipe. So to answer that viewer's question, the smoke again comes out of the burn chamber and up through there. Now the chimney creates a draft, and it sucks the smoke out. All right, so here's a view of the chimney where it comes out of the house, and it's got a cap on it, which that's going to need cleaned this year also. And here's that door that I showed you earlier with the lock. Okay, we managed to get the back cover off to expose this area that's leaking. Now let me go underneath here and I'll show you where the leak is. All right. It appears to me, obviously this is where the leak is. It looks like the back of this is caved in just a little bit. and that could be the problem. So this is turning into a fairly major let's see if we can get this thing off here. I did take all the bolts out, but they all broke off, so they'll all be needing to be drilled out. Okay, yeah, we got a problem. You can see that black area there where it's probably been leaking for quite some time. Now let's get a close up here, and you can see how that metal's kind of concaved in. But what I can do is I can put another fastener right there and straighten it up as much as I can, and I'll have to drill all these out, put new bolts in it, and then put a new seal around it. You can see the old one's in pretty bad shape. Alright. Okay, so I got this cleaned up a little bit, got the old gasket surface off there. You can see the head of these bolts sticking out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grind them off flush. Most of them, well, all of them broke when I was taking the nuts off. But it's actually a bolt, but it's threaded through this 1/8 inch steel. So I'm going to grind these off and then try to back these out and get all these holes freed up. And then I'm going to clean this up real well. Now if you look real close here, this is deformed really bad. So I'm going to clean this up good, and I'm going to fill it with JB Weld to bring it out flush. I thought about heating this and bending it back, but there's a chance I could disturb too much other stuff. So I think it's better that if I build this up with JB Weld and make it flat again, we'll be all right. So let's get to grinding. Okay, so this is what it looks like ground down. And what I've found is these bolts just go through a hole. They're not threaded into this plate steel like I thought they might be. So I'm going to take a punch and I'm going to see if I can knock them out of there. Okay, I got that all cleaned up with the sandpaper disc on that little grinder. This area here is where we're going to put the JB Weld. I don't know, it's probably difficult to see that indentation through the camera, but it's right here, and that's where the JB Weld will build that up and grind it down flush. Okay. All right, so we got the JB Weld. As you can see, it says extreme heat up to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Good for exhaust manifolds, tailpipes, mufflers, engine blocks, ductwork, heat exchange units, firebox, fireplace, outdoor grills. So I think this will probably work. Okay, so I've got the JB Weld on there, and it says it takes 4 to 6 hours to harden up. So what we'll do is hit it with the sandpaper once it cures. Okay, I ended up making a fixture, and you can see how thick that indentation is. So I'm going to peel this off and see how it turned out. Okay, I am not completely satisfied with this. It looks to me like we need some more JB Weld. So I'll be putting the fixture back on it, clamping it down, and adding more JB Weld. Alright, this is the part that goes on the back of the stove where we did the repair. I'm in the process of cleaning up all the mounting surfaces, and I want to get some of these carbon deposits out of the inside here so that our new pipe can slide in easily. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking this tool here, angle grinder, and I have sandpaper on it, and I'm just basically okay, this thing cleaned up pretty nice. The mounting surface here, and then inside the bore, if you can see that, I got all that carbon out of there with that sanding disc. The reason that this had to be done is for the new pipe to fit in there snug. So what we're doing now is I've got some 1/4-inch bolts, and we're putting the bolts into the holes, and then we'll put the gasket on there. You'll see that here in a little bit, and then we'll put this back on, put the nuts and the lock washers on there, and we'll be good to go. Now here's where we made that repair with the JB Weld. I think that came out pretty decent. You can see how thick that is. It's about the, well, it's the width of my little fingernail there. So what, a little over 3/8 of an inch. All right, the rope seal came with this gasket cement, good up to 2,000 degrees. But more importantly to me was to get something to hold this rope seal in place until I can get this put back on. Now the key is going to be to get it on here and hold these bolts in place at the same time. shorten these top two nuts just to hold them in place while I get the rest of them in place. So that technically kind of holds it. I'll reach inside and I'll hold the back side of the bolt. Got that one in. Got that one in. Whoa, back out. Okay, give me a couple more nuts. We're gonna go a little bit each time till we get this thing pressed in here. Very fine line between breaking these grade 5 bolts off and getting them plenty tight. Okay, everything's snugged up nice and tight. This is put all back together. What we'll do now is we'll put the sheet metal back around it, center it on its stand, and hook it up to the plenum, hook the ductwork up. Alright, so what we got is we got the top back on it, we got the front and back. We put all new screws in, all the way around this side. Alright, now I'm gonna go on Amazon and see if I can't find a thermal coupler for this. And these are gonna have to be drilled. They're not lining up, and I'm not sure why, but I'll pre-drill those and then shoot screws in there. I did get one to line up in the back, and I've got a ring that goes around here and another ring that goes around here, but I'll get all that taken care of. Alright, there we go. We got those covers on there. Okay, the thermal coupler, I went on Amazon, and this machine is so old that it's no longer available. I couldn't find anything relatively close. So I came up with another idea, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a timer. And that timer, when you turn that timer on, it will let the furnace run for 5 minutes at a time. So it'll be a little bit of an inconvenience to have to turn that on, but at least you can regulate when you want the heat. So what we're doing now is we're doing some electrical. I've got to run some wires over here. Well, I need to tighten that up before I go any further. Anyhow, this will set under here. The timer will go here. This is the variable speed resistor for the exhaust fan. When you open up the stove door, the smoke gets sucked out. So I'll run 2 more hot wires through here over to that box, if you can see it back there in the corner, and down through this pipe, and then I'm going to add another box, and then I'll have the plug in. Okay, so the box is mounted. I used a fish tape to pull these two red wires through. That's going to be the on and off for the power. I got to hook that back up. I left this open back here, but I'm going to close it here shortly. Just to let you get an idea of what we done here. And if you follow this around, you have this box. It has a capacitor in it for that exhaust fan. Okay, got the electric hooked up. That is the timer. Above it is the variable speed resistor for the exhaust gases when you open up the door to the stove. Back here, I made a little holder there to put the cords on so they're not laying on the ground, and then plugged in the two extension cords that are feeding some other power sources. So overall, the only thing I got left to do is put the cover plate on that. Now, let me turn it on for you. Alright, you should be able to hear that. That's the furnace blower kicking on. Now you're not going to hear this one over top of the furnace blower. And up here is another vent that sucks air out of this area and pumps it into another room of the house. Okay, we've got the 90 on here. It was a little bit difficult to get it in there. It was a very tight squeeze. I went ahead and took some of that 2000 degree sealer and put a bead all the way around. I also locked it in with 1, 2, and a third screw over on this side. So what we're going to do now is we're going to spin this thing around. I can put the rest of the screws in the front of it. We can hook up these two vent pipes, and we can hook the plenum up on the back side. Okay, finally we've done it. It's completely back together except for one component, and that's due to the fact that Amazon has let me down. We ordered it several days ago and it hasn't arrived yet. It's a piece of black 6-inch pipe for the exhaust out of the stove. So let me show you around one final time. We got the ductwork hooked back up. Got all the screws in the front of the stove. Got the plenum on the back of the stove. We even got the wood box back in here. And of course the wood box is for that chute right there. That plastic bag don't belong there. I was using that to lay on. And then here is where you can see the pipe that we need. So we get one more section of pipe and we should pretty much be golden. So other than that, you notice this is the chimney sweep. We didn't film it, but we completely cleaned out the chimney, and that piece sticking down there, I hand cleaned it and polished it up so that the new piece will slide right on there. So with that being said, I appreciate you watching the video. For my viewer that wanted to know how the smoke gets out of the house, hopefully this helps. Everybody have a great day, and thank you for watching.